Hello everybody, today we're going to talk about Baldur's Gate 3 and Larian and the issues that we are now seeing as we're playing through the game. Now, I'm not going to go into what Dev said this, I think that is really just hype because the game's good but it's not groundbreaking. We've seen this game twice before, Divinity Original Sin 1, Divinity Original Sin 2 and now we've got Baldur's Gate 3 which is exactly the same as the other two games. So there's nothing groundbreaking here, so all that nonsense about Dev said this, Dev said that, and Larian responding, that's hype. That is hype as far as I'm concerned. It's nothing to do with what actually is going on here. Might make a good YouTube video, but that's about it. Anyway, so let's move on. Right, this is Divinity Original Sin 3. Let's not make a mistake, it is. It's just got a different storyline, different characters, and it's based in the D&D world. It is Divinity Original Sin 3 in all intents and purposes. It makes exactly the same mistakes as Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2 made. But Larian have a reputation for this now, and I've got a way of working around it, which I'm going to tell you about now. When you're playing Original Sin and Divinity and all these other games, usually when they first release them, they tend to be too difficult, too hard. You know, you find yourself struggling. You've got to milk every single point in order to progress. And then if you do, then you find the next level a little bit easier. So you learn to basically be a completionist, because the only way to play Larian games is really to be a completionist, is not to skip anything. That's how you get anywhere with their games. Now, Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2 both had the same fault. You would eventually run out of steam somewhere in the middle of the game and not be able to progress. And it doesn't matter how hard you do it or how hard you try, you would run out of steam. Even on easy mode, which is more like hard mode, you would not get very far. Now, I've done this so many times now, and it's frustrating. And what I normally do, and what I've done with Baldur's Gate 3 is, I've walked away from the game. I've played it, I've got to the middle of Act 2, I've got the 4 or 5 boss fights under my belt, which I've completed, and I've ran out of everything because there's no stores for me to stock up. There's nothing I can actually do about stocking up between these boss fights, because in that particular level, the store's in a village, and that village is partly under attack. So whether you save the village or not depends on whether you keep that store. And in 2 of the fights you have to fight, well, that store should be closed because all them people are attacking one of the other bosses. So it only stays open for so long. You've really got to know all these boss fights are coming in order to progress past that level. And when you do get to that point, you do kill that boss and you do jump down a certain tower and you do get to the air and you do see, the ultimate bad guy, and you do take on death. It's the same thing again. It's another boss fight, right? So you basically exhausted all your resources. So you do run out of steam and you do come to a grinding halt. And this happens in every single Larian game I've ever played. So it's exactly the same in Baldur's Gate 3. They'd grind you down until you've got nothing left to fight with, and then the game ends for you. You're not necessarily dead, you just can't get beyond the point you're at now. So what's the cure for that then? Well, the cure for that is to put the game down and come back in 2 years. I know you don't like to hear that, but that's what the cure is. It works 100% of the time. In 2 years' time, this game will be balanced. The levels will be balanced. The spells and the characters will be balanced. And you'll find it much easier. Easy mode will then be easy. Right now, it's very difficult, easy mode. But this is the same every time Larian make their games. The first year or 2, they're incredibly difficult. So you walk away, you come back, and then easy mode is easy. Normal is normal and hard is hard. Right? And you can walk through it. I mean, I've finished a few of their games now using this method, just leaving it, walking away, coming back to it later. And I've found that is actually the only way to play them. Because if you try forcing the issue, you'll still run out of steam. And the other thing as well, in Act 2, I think there's about 4 or 5 fights where one character's spawning more characters every turn. Right? So if you don't kill off the character or the item doing the spawning, you will eventually be overwhelmed. Not once, but about 5 times that happens. So I get the impression, like I'd get in quite a few of Larian's games, that all the effort went into Act 1. Act 2 isn't that interesting, and Act 3 I shudder to think. right? So Act 2 is basically, here's a bad guy, oh look, he spawned 3 more bad guys, right? And then they, go off, and then he spawns some more the next turn, some more the next turn. Or somebody will cast a spell and it'll produce eggs, and those eggs will spawn bad guys, and more eggs, and they'll spawn bad guys. And what they normally do is you start this end of the level, the guy spawning's at that end of the level. In between you, there's an army you've got to defeat. If you stop to fight them, he's got an army that will overwhelm you eventually. You have to somehow get past that army to the other side of the map to kill him, to stop him spawning things. Then you wipe out the rest of the army. 5 times I had to do that. Right? It was a strategy that used so often it got tedious in Act 2. Really tedious. And I think they ran out of ideas after Act 1 personally. They should have probably released the game with just Act 1 and that's it. But the Act 2 one, I mean, it's interesting in some ways, right? But I would say it's more an act of frustration right now. So you've got to step back from the game. You've got to really give it time to be balanced and then go back to it. I'm guessing Act 3 is going to be very, very short at the rate things are going. Because if they're using the same trick 5 times in a level, then what's Act 3 going to be like? If there is an Act 3 even, right? Because I haven't got beyond 2 yet. What I have done though is I'm currently facing death. I'm taking on death. And I've worked out that my best way of beating them is to let one particular character beat the hell out of one of my characters so she has maximum points, and when she snaps out of it and starts attacking Death, then Death can't kill her instantly. He has to take 2 turns to do it. But that's another one. He spawns more creatures all the way around. And you've got to kill him. And you've got to kill the other guy before him for the same reason. So there's 2 occurrences where they're spawning more creatures in the same area. 2 bosses, same trick used twice. And it just gets absolutely ridiculous. People say it's the best game, a long time. It's setting standards. No, it's not. It's not the best game in a long time. It's not setting standards. That's hype. Right, quite frankly, this Divinity 3, we've seen this game twice before. It's as simple as that, right? There's nothing new about it. It's not setting any standards. It's a good game. It's not the best in a long time, and it's falling short, in my opinion, of what a good RPG should be. Because if this is the idea of a good modern RPG, bring back the retro games. That's what I say. Give me Neverwinter Nights. Give me I Beholder. All these others. Because back in the time, they were trend-setting, This isn't. It's just a good story. They did do the dialogue right, though. They got the dialogue, the way the dialogue works. It is quite interesting in some cases. I mean, some developers, like Obsidian, bore the hell out of me. They have, endless reams of dialogue that mean absolutely nothing. In Larian's case, their dialogue goes, "It's a secret. I don't want to tell you." Okay, I'll talk to the other character then. "It's a secret. I don't want to tell you." Okay, I'll talk to the other character. "It's a secret. I don't want to tell you." Talk to another character. "It's a secret." Hang on a second. They're all saying the same thing with different words, aren't they? It's a secret. They all want to be companions, but they all don't want to tell me anything. Funny that. But that's the way it is. All the companions do the same thing. They won't tell you anything. It's always a secret. Again, a bit monotonous and tedious. The sound of little imagination goes into some of these things. The dialogue on the characters, yeah, I'd take it or leave it myself. It's not really that great. Storylines, they tend to think, okay, I've got to do this, then I win. Oh, right, I don't win. I've got to do this and then I win. Oh, no, right, I don't win. I've got to do this and I win. Oh, right, no, I don't win. Yeah, and that's just part of the gameplay. Fair enough. The story didn't grab me from day one, so I'm only playing for the gameplay. But the point is, the story itself, it could be about anything. You're fighting the bad guys, you're leveling up your characters. That's what I like. That's what I'm into. The D&D, I can take it or leave it. I like detailed character stats, and we don't get that in this game. If anything, I'd say this is more of an action RPG because the detail isn't there. It's a good game. It's interesting, but the other thing actually, trying to think about it, is if you were to play this game, you would see that there's several ways of doing most things. You're not always going to get, the same ending if you play the game a slightly different way. So that's a good thing. It means you'll get a bit of replay value, especially in Act 1. I mean, I know somebody that's got a cat as a pet. I've got an owl bear and a dog. So they did something I never did, So there you go. Says, but Act 2 doesn't strike me as being that dynamic. It strikes me as being a little bit two-sided. You're either for them or against them, and that's it. And I guess in Act 3 you'll be very, very linear again. You'll have one choice, so it narrows down like a pyramid. This is what I'm guessing anyway. Anyway, it says this is just a really quick video on the topic, so hopefully you could you like the video. Tell me what you think below. Tell me if you agree or don't agree. It's okay to disagree. You don't have to agree with everything I say. Just be friendly and polite. When we're all adults here, at least I hope we are. Right, so we can talk about these things. And if you can't talk about them, there is a cure for that. Right, so anyway, see you in the next one, and keep enjoying Baldur's Gate 3. It is a good game, but ignore the hype and all that nonsense about devs and new standards, because it isn't a new standard. It's Original Sin 3. Let's be honest here. See you in the next one.